All right, well, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Again, this is Ryan Seymour, Director of Education and Consulting here at ConnectSecure. And Shrikant and Shiva will not be able to make the call today. So rather than us not having a call, I am going to take over the session today. If you guys were with us last week, we had a longer than normal call on Friday. I had did the video walkthrough of V4 or the live demo of V4 last week. Um, we had some trouble getting that video uploaded to our YouTube channel, and so it took us a little bit of time to get it there, but we did finally get the video uploaded. For those of you that have been, I know we've seen a lot of partners asking for that. I'm going to drop the link to our YouTube handle. Shiva also obviously has it on his YouTube, but ConnectSecure does have a YouTube channel where if you go to the playlist section, you'll see we've got the weekly partner calls there now. And so I'll be making sure that we get copies of these on our ConnectSecure YouTube channel, where you can also find, documentation videos for V3, and then eventually we'll be publishing all the V4 stuff. So for those of you that were asking, that walkthrough is out there published from last week. Okay.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes.
So I got a quick question here. It's not related to ConnectSecure in a way, but it kind of is. Um, I noticed that you guys are using Confluence Atlassian for your backend support and everything.
Just for our documentation.
Okay. Have you guys fixed the flaws that are currently actively being exploited by that?
Well, I'm not familiar with that, but I'd be happy to maybe after the call we can connect and go over that offline.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to send me a message, I'm happy to chat with you about it. Someone else on my team that's here may answer it in the chat for you, but happy to talk to you offline. All right, so regarding kind of, I'm going to provide some updates today about where we're at with V4 and give you guys some views of what we've done, what we're working on. Before I do that, though, I want to just reiterate where we're at with the current product V3 or V2, depending on what you're looking at here. Um, this product is still, again, in production mode. Everyone should be using it. If you're having any problems, in the V4 side or are waiting on some of the features like patch management and you're not using it, you should be using the current product, still fully supported and functioning. Um, if anyone missed it, in the V3 product today, when you're logged in, you can go ahead and start your replication process in the system yourselves. You can either be globally or you can be at any company, and you're up on your probes and agents menu in the top left. You got your probes, your lightweight, and all your agents here. You can see the status of them and if they've been replicated or not to the V4 side. And if they are replicated, you'll see the agent status, which is the service, if it's running or not. So we've given you control over this now. You're able to, select what agents you want. You can select them all, or you can select groups or one, whatever you need. You're going to use the global actions menu. And here you can enable or disable those V4 agent services. So if you don't want both agents concurrently running at the same time, but you can still have the agent installed, it'll kill the service. And if you haven't replicated those agents yet, you can tap Start Replication, and that will begin the replication process so that the agent here goes over to the V4 side. And you'll essentially have both of them there. So again, probes and agents menu, you can control this however you want. You can run both agents at the same time, right? They are, Shiva's team built this to run concurrently. So you could have two agents on the same machine reporting to both the different portals at the same time. Is it going to put more load on the machine? Yes, of course it is. You have two agents running. Just like most of our MSP partners are out there, they're running multiple agents on machines. right? We've got RMM tools, we've got AV tools, we've got EDR and XDR tools, we've got vulnerability tools. I mean, there's always multiple agents. So yes, it does add more load to the machine, but whether it's a V3 or V4 lightweight agent, they are designed to be lightweight in nature. So they should not be, overbearing a machine where you can't run them both. There were some reports early on that we were getting some memory and CPU spikes on some of the V4 agents. We have since patched those issues and we have not seen those coming in. Again, if you are, you can let us know. Our team, we can get you guys help, make sure that your agent's running the latest, 4.11, and we'll get you sorted out. But again, if you don't want to run both agents concurrently, you don't have to, right? And then that's why we're giving you control over those agent statuses. So you could technically have the V4 agent installed and ready and then turn it on when you feel comfortable. And, there's multiple ways to do that outside of even just our tool, right? Some of our partners are staging agents and then turning services on and off with their RMM tools, right? Through scripts or through PowerShell commands, etc. Again, you guys need help doing that stuff. Let us know, let our support team know, get a conversation started with us, and we'll get you leaded in the right direction. All right, so that's again what's going on with the migrate or the replication of your data to V4. So I'm going to make sure I keep using the same thing. So you can either, manually do this by agents, depending on how you want to group them by customer. You can pick one or two, or you can do them all. And we do have an all button up here built into the toolbar. So you'll notice there's a replication resync here on that toolbar. And when you tap here, you're going to get basically a launch button, right? And once you click this, it's going to say, do everything. All companies, all settings, everything we can replicate, we're going to start replicating it. So maybe err to the side of caution when using this, unless you're absolutely sure. Otherwise, you can control that at the probes and agents menu, agent by agent, group by group, however whatever groups you need to do. So that's kind of where we're at with our replication status. Okay. So we're going to switch gears now. And I'm going to provide some updates on what we're doing with the V4 platform where we're at. So we're still working towards 100% feature parity in the V4 side. Of course, that's the goal, right? Everything that you do today will be capable in V4 with lots of new enhancements to it. And so I'm going to go through some of the updates that the team has put into the UI and some of the functions, starting with our asset download report. So now when you're inside of an asset, any active asset or any asset in the system, you're going to have this report where you can tap and get your Excel downloads directly from the agent screen itself. And that'll bring forward, the asset detail report that contains all the key metrics around that particular asset. Again, we figure if you're in the agent detail screen on a particular machine, your customer's obviously not going to be doing that most of the time. It's going to be your technicians, it's going to be an engineer, it's going to be a guy that's managing the vulnerability tool. And most of the time we find that those technicians like the details in Excel. They like that raw data, like to see everything. And then they'll use and pick and choose what they want from it. So that asset report, again, is available directly off the asset itself, and of course, in the standard reports of the system.
Is that live now? Because when I tried, I'm getting 500 error messages back from the server.
Some of it should be live. It depends. I know not all the systems have been updated, so probably have to wait for the next round of updates to see some of these.
Just why I got the same error and I clicked on it again and now it did download.
Yeah, I've tried a few times.
Yeah, so some of the slides that you guys are seeing here aren't not going to be live in everyone's system. So during our next round of updates, I would expect you guys to see what we're covering today. But again, if you're having issues, report them to our team. We'll get you help.
The branding on that Excel file, that's part of the main branding, the logo on the main page for company.
Yeah, correct. There'll be white label settings right within the system that allow you to control the branding, the color schema, just like you're doing today in the current product. Add option align to right dynamic menus. So this was a pretty big deal for a lot of partners because in V4, that we introduced on the new UI this whole right toolbar that had all the actions. Well, now there's an option to move that bar to your left side of your screen. So on your left here, you're going to see those actions instead of seeing them over here on the right, where they come in by default. You'll be able to move those around. We have a lot of feedback from partners that are just so used to looking down that left panel for things. So this should help ease some of the, the shock of a new UI and a change and bring some of that user experience back to the left side of your screen. So there'll be an option, again, that'll be up in the cog wheel. That'll be in the cog wheel of your system. So if you tap up in the top right corner, you'll get the settings menu out, and then you'll be able to change that. And again, not live in everyone's system, so you're not going to see these options until the updates get pushed. Again, that'll work at the global menu. It'll also work down in the company menus. So globally menu, company menus, everything can shift to your left, giving you a little bit of more comfort if you're used to that. We've also expanded the width of the title bar up there. Again, in the original release and some of the portals that you may be looking at now, if you have a large company name or a large screen, that bar was getting condensed and in some cases cutting off the names of the company. And so we've changed the dynamics of how that bar will adjust itself according to the company size and name and screen size to make sure that you guys can see, the full company names if they happen to be a touch longer than normal. On the assets screen, which is going to, again, fall under your, under the top level assets section, you're going to have a new agent type dropdown that'll allow you to filter that screen below if you wanted to break up the assets into lightweight versus probe agents. You'll have the all option, of course, if you want to kind of see everything together, but this will kind of be a new section where you can tap lightweights or probe, and then the asset list here will filter. There is also in this screen, there is a heading option that says agent type that does exist as a column, but we've also given you just a quick filter now because some partners like to, again, go globally and they just want to see everything and quick filter it. So you'll have that option now built in. Company level, same option. So again, if you're at the global or you're looking at an individual customer, you'll have them same options built in. Again, and that's under assets. So you'll be under this heading and then in the assets menu, where you're going to see that show up. Added the AD audit event stats inside the Active Directory audit section. So if you're using Active Directory and you're looking at the AD audit screen, this has been added to that screen, again, broken down by those problem groups to help you guys understand and identify, where are some of those hygiene areas that we can clean up or look into and get policies written for, et cetera. Same thing here, additional user stats and events that are coming from Active Directory. Some of the things that we care about most, get a lot of requests about users locked and enabled users and administrative users. So now you've got some options, or you can filter and add, additional views into this data. So you're looking at the stuff you care about, right? And maybe get rid of the things you don't. Firewall scanning. So on the current product, we've got, firewall integrations where you can tap into some of the supported vendors. This is one of the things that was late to the party, we'll say, for V4 here in the last 10% of the feature parity firewalls. That screen has been added to the agent section where you'll be able to configure under your probes and credentials section. You'll have your firewall OS now, so you can add in credentials for firewalls. We've added the firewall scan in as one of the scan types now. So when you're using, the scheduler or you're kicking off a scan, you'll have the option to now use firewall scan as one of the options. As I mentioned, it'll drop in under your assets area. So there'll be a new menu there for firewalls added. And again, that'll show up company level, global level. When you're down inside that firewall, you'll get a view that, again, you're hopefully getting used to seeing the agent detail screen, or what this is, the firewall detail screen, where you're getting, what the firewall is, some of the system specs around it, serial numbers, versions, firmware, etc. And then, of course, the vulnerability and the configuration and the scanning of it broken down into those problem groups that we've kind of reworked all the CVEs into. So again, instead of just dumping over a list of CVEs and saying, here's your issues with the firewall, we've kind of brought them into more layman's terms to help you understand and maybe how to prioritize how you might be addressing something.
Does that need just a read-only credentials?
I'm not 100%, but my gut tells me yes, read only, because the tool is read only. We don't add, edit, or delete firewall configuration from this tool. So
In my experience, read only is fine.
Yes, it is read only, Ryan.
okay, so yes, thank you, Vishali. So confirmed, read only credentials to a firewall or an asset will work. Really just showing the difference here between pfSense, Meraki, FortiGates, everything that we're used to seeing today will be available to you guys. Global integrations menu is where you can add credentials as well. And then again, once you add credentials for a firewall, you go to the company mapping section and you tell it what company those map to in our SOL. So again, you would map a set of credentials to a customer. Right? You could have multiples in here, but again, they would map to a customer. From the probe agent, again, just showing the firewall scanning ability, where you can go ahead and kick off the firewall scan. Again, you can use the scheduler as well, right? We add the schedulers in the tool. So you would use the scheduler to set your firewall scan up. Just another, again, quick UI shot of in the company level asset firewall section, again, looking at what you see in your firewall listing, some of the system info you're looking at. This happened to be Meraki. Again, firewall rules, users, interfaces, groups, zones, all the things that you're used to seeing organized a bit better here. Application patching screen. So again, screens are being written and added. This is one of those last mile pieces to get us to that feature parity was the patching, application patching, operating system patching. There's been a lot of questions, a lot of hype, a lot of ask around it. I know we're all excited to see it all come in and get there. Team's been working incredibly hard on this stuff, but it is coming into our environment. So we're coming around the corner for this. I don't have a date for you guys yet, unless any one of my colleagues that may be on the call can comment. I don't have a date just yet. I know they're still working on it, but the screens have been added into some of our demo environments. So again, you'll see here a listing of patching all the applications that can be patched within the tool. You'll have your 3-dot action menus to initiate, hey, what assets am I going to go ahead and patch on this particular job? Just like you're used to kind of seeing in the current product is a list of assets, and you can check them all, or you can pick and choose. And then, of course, a patch jobs section, so you can monitor what's going on with the patch jobs, dates, when it was patched, Hennigan failed, of course, the reports, the dashboard side of this as well to give you guys visibility into patching, right? What's going on with patching. It is being worked on. Again, don't have a date or anything around that. And again, unless anyone on the team can comment, but it's right there on the radar. And I know our team's been working incredibly hard to get that stuff done. One of the other things that I didn't have in the slide deck that, you know, that probably worth, you know, mentioning to you guys is, you know, our dev and QA team in the last 3 days, you know, they've done a total of 177 tickets from bugs that have been resolved and fixed in the new version. So these guys are plowing through, you know, what they can. I think they're doing an incredible job at the speed at which they've been developing. So I want to make sure the partners are aware of, you know, the volume that these guys are doing. You know, we see a lot of you know, we see a lot of the noise, the chatter from the partners around, you know, a lot of the, you know, the support and the wait and what's going on. So again, we're trying to be transparent with you guys, right? You know, we're here, we're listening, our teams are listening. You know, we're trying to get to you guys as quickly as possible and get this product, you know, out there as quickly as possible to you guys, but we want to make sure it's right too. Not have to do it twice. So, you know, shout out to Shiva's team. If any of those folks are here with us this evening on all of the, you know, the bugs and all the QA work that's been done to get this product to where it's at. I know normally we might go through some of the questions on the chat with you guys. So, you know, I'll take a stab at what I can answer on chat. Looks like some of you guys have had some answers already, but I'm going to kind of turn over to the chat here and see if I can help anyone out here that may have missed anything. So Sean, I'm going to start right. Sean, any update on permission issues with V4 non-admin accounts? Sean, are you referring to custom roles that were in V3 coming to V4 when you say non-admin accounts? Sean O'Connor, maybe. So without a little more info, I can't really answer that. Sean, if you end up joining back with us, let me know.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I was stuck doing something. I'm referring to the fact that when we've got Azure SSO set up with the Zeta dev, and if we log in, if we assign admin rights to the user, they have full access to the V4 environment. If we assign any rights other than full admin, the user logs in and they get a blank data screen with just the global view, no listed customers in the pull down menu, and no data. But if I change them to full admin, everything works fine.
So my gut tells me that there's an API permission or something on the identity provider connection, that's maybe not set up the right way. If you haven't, I'd put a ticket in with our team so we could maybe get a session with you and look at that and get that resolved. Because you shouldn't have to use admin to get someone in. That's point blank the end of the.
Well, I mean, the user gets in, they just don't see any data in the portal.
Yeah, no, understood.
Yeah, and it's just using the built-in permissions in the Zeta.
Yeah, Zeta, the authentication front end that it uses. So yeah, send that if you haven't, or if you have, Sean, drop that ticket number to me if you haven't. Create one, and we'll have our team look at it.
Yeah, I'll send them I got like 3 tickets on that one going right now. They've all been sent to dev, but I haven't heard anything back over the last few weeks. So I'll send you the tickets.
Yeah, send me a message with the ticket, and I'll get a look into it.
Okay.
We had a similar issue, just so you know, not with SSO, just with standard user accounts. If you were using the IT admin role, users weren't able to log in. They had to be admin.
And that's with SSO or SAML setup on.
No, no SAML, no SSO, just a straight user account. So I don't know if it's related or not, but just for context, may not have anything to do with SAML.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I'll chime in and say that I did create a direct user within the Zitaded dev portal. If I assign it admin, it works fine. If I assign it any other permissions, it gets the same thing as our SAML users.
Yeah, that's good info. Yeah, I think we just got to get our hands in there on a session and, put the tools down and see what we can do. And if there's an issue with code or the integration itself, we'll get it fixed. Okay, should I be running both agents same time? Luke, I think we talked about this. Should we be running both agents at the same time? I pretty much answered that. You can, you don't have to. It's completely up to you guys. You also have to take into account your customers, right? We don't know your customers. And so if your customers have workstations that are maybe not running the latest hardware or on slow bandwidth because they're in a rural part of the country and they don't have high-speed internet. There's just so many things we've come across. So we also have to just consider something.
If you run the V4, if you're only running the V4 agent, will the data only go to the V4 portal?
Correct.
Okay, and so the replication isn't pulling the data from the V4 portal back to V3.
Correct.
Okay, so what I thought was supposed to be happening is the V3 agent was supposed to be removed. So I removed the V3 agent, only have the V4 agent. And so now with that configuration, my only good data is going to be in the V4 portal.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. If you want, you could
roll that back.
So if you're not patching, right? If you're not using the patching,
yep,
then you could technically use the V4 system.
Okay.
I mean, because that's really what's not there today. Again, firewalls are also not there, but I don't see that being a deal breaker anywhere. In some cases it may be, but the external scan is there, right? I can still external scan any firewall. I just don't have the API integration to the deeper reporting and scanning of it, the internal side of it, of course. But again, I think it depends on the scope of what you're using in the kernel.
Okay, this is so helpful. I was so confused with replication. I thought replication was pulling V4 data back to V3. This is really answering a lot of questions. So basically, I just need to tell my guys focus on the V4 data. The other confusing thing was there was the vulnerabilities between the two platforms weren't the same, but now I understand why, because the V3 agent wasn't reporting data. So I'm good.
Yep, great. Yeah, so it only goes from V3 to V4, but not the other way.
Replication goes from V3 to V4.
And not the other way.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Makes sense.
Happy to clear that up. Shiva, which I believe is, Shiva's on the chat, I see. Okay, so it looks like he answered that. Do settings and configurations from V3 automatically sync to V4? Yes, Matthew. Yes. We're syncing settings, configurations, the agents, the companies. We actually have a doc out there built that contains all of that. But yes, that is all synced when you run the sync. It looks like Simone provided that doc just under your question, Matt. Thank you, Simone, for dropping that in there. Is automatic patching? Nope. So it looks like a couple of weeks, Shiva even commented. So automatic patching not released, as I mentioned, but Shiva responded. Approximate ETA is second week of February right now. So coming up pretty quick. Today is the last day of January. We are already a month out, so time is flying. A couple of weeks out, patching's coming. So awesome to see that. Any chance we can get an update timeline on the delay setting all patches, not just Microsoft? Yep, Sean. That answers you. What does replication mean? Luke, I think we cleared that up. Talking to Luke through some of that things. Please, product PowerPoint, Krishna. Yes, Krishna, I will get you the deck, no problem. On-premise instance is not. Adam, on-prem instance does not have the V3 or V4 option under the global menu. Adam, you still with us here?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you've got an on-prem instance and you're not seeing the replication options?
No, so if I go to the probes, go to global options, there's just no V3 or V4 enable disable options. There's no replication options. So the options you showed are just not on my instance at all.
Okay, so I know the on-premise partners are a little, special / unique / I know it's treated a touch different. So I would just say, can you throw an email over to support? We will get it to where we'll get you an answer on it. I know that they're working on the on-prem side as well to SaaS. I'm sorry, on-prem to on-prem or SaaS. I just don't have those details and I don't want to give you the wrong info.
So Ryan, actually the team is waiting for V4 to get stabilized. And I think once that is in place, we will do the on-prem also to the, same parity as we are doing for V4 SaaS.
Okay, thank you, Vishali. So
does that mean that the on-prem or some on-prem partners won't have any V4 agents rolled out to our clients at all?
Not at the moment, sir.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
So just keep using your normal product production as business as normal. And I guess, good news for the delay for the on-premise partners, if there's any others of you out here, is by the time you do get the V4 agents, things are going to be pretty stabilized for you. So that is, I guess, the silver lining and what has been a, tough process for all of us. So that's coming. Smart agents, Joe. So I'm reading here, Joe had a problem with replication on agents opening up outbound on our firewall. Agents fixed. Thanks for supporting me. Yes, Joe, thank you. Shout out to the team for getting Joe the right info. Port 4222 outbound. And also whitelisting myconnectsecure.com in your firewall rules if you have anything aggressive or if you're doing normal content filtering or doing anything. One of the proactive things you guys can do to make sure your agents are communicating correctly is whitelisting myconnectsecure.com from your rules. Again, if anyone's having trouble with traffic or not sure what's going on, our team will do everything in our power to help you guys troubleshoot, as far as we possibly can. So let us know.
Question: to remove version 3, do we just go to the version 3 portal and select them and say uninstall?
Absolutely, that will work. If you want to uninstall an agent from the current version, you could just go right into the portal and issue the uninstall or a delete from the agent. It must be online. If it's not online, that will not work.
And it will not queue it?
No, it will not.
Okay.
The other option you've got on any agent is in the Cyber CNS install directory in the path. We have an uninstall.bat file that you could execute from command line, from a PowerShell script, from something that can call that. And that would also uninstall the agent from the machine through, a silent uninstall.
Do you have any KB or something pointing to that?
I'm pretty sure we do. If any of my support colleagues are on the call that can fetch that and drop it in the chat, that would be wonderful. But
And one
yes,
maybe not unrelated question to the V3, V4. Can you move an agent from one, let's say, customer to another?
yes, you can. If you go to the agent on screen, you can pick, you would have to be at the company level. Okay. You
How
go to-
about in version 4?
Yes, anything you can do in version now, you will be able to do in version 4.
Okay. So you select the agent at the company level.
And you say migrate. Actually, I think you have to use the global. All right, going back to our chat here. So looking here, Jonah mentioned, I was informed by support that Chrome is the supported browser. Is that currently still the case? So yeah, the unofficial official answer is you should be using Chrome, and we're saying incognito Chrome where you never have issues, but Chrome is definitely the browser to use. It will work in other browsers, and I've seen it work in other browsers. I even see Chris, one of our partners, mentioned that they're using it in Firefox and it's starting to work there. I've seen Brave, Opera's, Mozilla, Safari, all the different browsers. Of course, eventually when they get every one of them working consistently for you guys, but right now in these early release of beta and where we're at, Chrome is definitely the browser to be using. It'll just be a more pleasant experience for you. Dennis, when will Excel reports be available for the standard reports? Don't know the question to that. I don't know if Rashali, if you know or have an ETA on the Excel coming out for standard reports.
No, Ryan, no ETA is available, but the team is working to get the parity with it.
So Dennis, we're holding tight here. It is coming, so we're not leaving them out. I don't have that info, unfortunately, right now. I see a couple more troubleshooting steps. Love the conversation. Eric, thanks for dropping some of that in there. Everyone that's just kind of collabing on that. That's great. We love to see it. Custom dashboard. So Matt, is there an ETA for new advanced reporting features like the custom dashboard? So yes and no. So some of that has already been released, which I did show last week on the report builder section of the system. So we have brought the report builder to the new tool with all the new data tiles, with all the new views that we've built for you guys. You've got the cover page option editing. You've got the customization is all there. As far as the built-in dashboards that we do, I can't again give you exact dates, but there will be additional enhancements to the way we report and use those dashboards as the product gets more into a general release production. Everyone's using it, and we're looking downstream, right, on enhancements.
So Ryan, I appreciate that clarification. And I do appreciate that you're getting the reporting to enable the V4 version. What I'm referring to is something that was demoed a while back, of essentially, again, being able to create dashboards of vulnerability data that could be shared with clients with like a URL. So I could create a dashboard that showed whatever I specifically wanted to do, create a URL, have it available for say a week as maybe like a pre-sales tool or something like that. But still a planned implementation. The reporting that I see right now in V4 looks a little bit similar to what was in the V3 version. So that's just what I was talking about. There's no ETA or anything. I was just curious if that was the roadmap.
Yeah, you kind of broke up there quite a bit for me. I think I pretty much heard what you said though. It sounded like you were specifically interested in the shareable URL or links right out to the dashboards, if I heard you right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I know that's was on the roadmap on the original reporting and dashboard view. So I would expect that we will see that. And I know that in some of my demo environments that I'm working in, I do have some options to share links out from things. I know that you guys aren't seeing all that just yet. So I think, again, it's just one of those, we gotta wait until it gets released, but it is in the roadmap.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. How long does it take for manual replication? I think it's going to vary, right? I've seen it take 15 minutes. I've seen it take 5 hours. I've seen it take 5 days. I think it really just depends on how much data we're talking about. And again, all these conditions are variables. Upload, download speeds of internet connections and where things are going, and just can never give you guys really an answer on that stuff. What I can say though, if it's not working, you let us know and we'll get you help. It's impossible for me to say, hey, it should take you 20 minutes, right? Or so I can't say that. So, Mark, thank you. Mark Onett, we see your comment there. Looks like Vershali picked that up. Shiva is actually Vershali on the chat, if anyone's confused. I know I mentioned Shrikant and Shiva were not available today. Our colleague and director Vershali is Shiva on the chat, just for clarification.
Sorry for that, but I had to host a meeting, so I'm using the same handle.
Yeah, no worries, Vershali. Thank you for jumping on too. I know it's late at night for you. Adam asked, patching, since you are using in-house to verify patching, how do we vet what you are patching? That would be in some of the reporting in the patch jobs details. So if you want to see what we're patching, what time, date, what customer, whether it was successful or failed, that data will be available in the patch job details. Okay. Chris, thank you. Shout out support team doing a great job. We always appreciate you guys. WatchGuard firewalls. Yes, looks like Brandon asked about WatchGuards. Thank you, Vershali. WatchGuards will come in. On-prem, we talked about that. Question on agents. No, a lightweight agent just deep scan. Okay, so Steve, yes, got an answer. Basically, a lightweight agent or a probe agent, both will scan the machine that it is on. We get that question quite a bit in support is, does the probe scan the machine it's on? Yes, just like a lightweight agent would. It scans the machine it's on, but it also reaches outside the boundaries and looks for other machines to scan. So yes. Yeah, so Craig asked, what is end of life on V3 EOL? End of life, is going to be for you guys to help us decide, right? That's one of the great things that I love about our company is this is very much driven and guided by the partners and their voices. So you guys are going to tell us when V3 should be end of life and help us figure out when, we're ready to make that cut. We're not forcing anyone into the new product until it's 100% feature parity, stabilized, working as you want. But I know that if you guys get the experience that I've been having in the new product, you'll be happy once you get over it, right? And V3 will become a thing of the past. So yes, Craig, thanks for asking. It's good to clarify with everyone in case we missed those things. Same here, no on-prem options. Yeah, we talked about that. Adam, you asked, anyone seen credentials not available for scan? That is definitely a common error message that we see, indicative of credentials not being available on what asset we're trying to scan. Credentials, now remember, our agents, lightweight agents, probe agents, they will attempt to scan anything with an IP address unauthenticated, right? We will attempt to scan it through various scan methods, NetBIOS and SMB and Nmap, and there's probably a bunch of other acronyms that I don't know, but we are attempting to scan those agents unauthenticated with or without credentials. But you can optionally provide credentials. In some cases, we cannot scan a device without credentials. And then you have to supply those credentials to either the probe that is running the scan. Those creds get added at the probe. Or you can go directly to an asset and add credentials to the asset. If you're like, hey, I don't want to put my credentials on this probe because the probe's going to try and use those credentials on everything it sees. Or if you can go to one asset and at the top of the screen on the asset, there's a set of keys. It looks like a key. One of them are for credentials for SNMP, and the other one are for like asset credentials, like SSH perhaps, or local administrator or Azure AD credentials. So that hopefully will enlighten some of you and help resolve that. And again, if you're having the issue and you can't figure it out, take a screenshot of the asset of the company, send it into our team. We'll be able to look at it and we'll help you guys troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. Paul, thanks, Shiva. Looks like Paul got your question there from the team. Thank you, Vishali, for jumping in there. Tim, in the old portal, we could go to company view, jobs, scheduler, report jobs to get a history of all reports generated in July. Where can I find this in the new V4 UI? So, Tim, you're not finding it in the new V4 UI because it is not there yet. As you guys are, some of you may be aware, the scheduler was kind of recently added into V4. And so not everything that's going to be available in the scheduler is there yet. And I think you, Tim, have spotted another one of those things, scheduled reports, right? Being able to schedule those. So that will make its way. It is not in the new UI just yet. Yeah, great point. You won't miss those. Those are the details that matter. I have master and 88 user pass installed. Some users not reporting parity, SML, summing. Okay, so Dennis, you got that answer. Brian, Luke, yeah, Luke, you can send that email to Shrikant@connectsecure.com and you can get added to this weekly call. And once you get the link to the call, it's the same link each week. So that's nice. You can share that link with your colleagues, with anyone that wants to get on these calls and give us some feedback. Chris B, Chris, looks like you got your, so Chris B asked how to convert a lightweight agent into a probe. Great question. It looks like you got the answer from our team, Rashali and Sherry. Chris, thank you guys. For those of you maybe that are still, your interest is peaked there. I'm just going to, again, fun fact, V4 agent installer. When you install a V4 agent, it's always a lightweight agent. That's how they all start out by default. Everything is a lightweight agent. And then what happens is inside the V4 console on the lightweight agents, when you map discovery settings and credentials, then that lightweight agent says, hey, I have a discovery setting and I have credentials. Now I'm going to be a probe. And it turns itself into a probe as soon as those credentials and discovery settings get applied to it. There is a little menu note at the top of the lightweight agent screen that actually says it. It'll tell you there. It's kind of, it hides itself in the UI, but that is kind of what happens there. So everything starts out as a lightweight. You must map your discovery settings and credentials to the lightweight agent, and then it turns itself into a probe. And then, yes, if you remove the lightweight agent's discovery, if you remove the probe's lightweight credentials or discovery, you can move it back to a lightweight agent, just like you can in the current version. So really no difference there. And then another request on chat, vulnerabilities versus, so someone's asked the difference between vulnerabilities, vulnerability application. Okay, yeah, so in the new product, we have broken down the vulnerabilities screen into 3 sections. One says vulnerabilities, one says application vulnerabilities, and one says network scan findings. So what we're really saying there is if you start at the very first top level choice, just plain old vulnerabilities, that is your combined view of both application vulnerabilities and network-based vulnerabilities, all in one view. So if I wanted to see both of those vulnerability lenses in one shot, that's just the one called vulnerabilities. It includes everything that is a vulnerability. As you move down to the second choice, application vulnerabilities, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's just the vols that are connected to an application, meaning a third-party application or an operating system patch. that is not installed. That's it. If it's related to the network, it doesn't show in that list, which is that third option, network scan findings. Those are going to be your network-based vulnerabilities. Those would include things like web server vols, SSL and TLS certificate vulnerabilities, web server fingerprint vulnerabilities, some of the other vulnerabilities and CVEs that we scan for that are not application-based. Okay, so that's really what those three differences are. Also keep in mind, you don't get network scan findings or network vulnerabilities if you don't have a probe. Only the probe runs that scan because the lightweight agents only scan the machine they are on. They do not reach outside the boundaries of the local machine. So as a best practice, if you wanted to totally scan an environment, you would put lightweight agents on every single thing that takes an agent, and then elect one of those to become your probe and scan the network with a single probe. Maybe you have a couple of probes in the environment if you're dealing with a larger environment that has multiple locations or multiple subnets or multiple VLANs. You could consider doing a couple probes, but that's kind of the gist there. So hopefully that, again, will help clarify. And that doesn't matter if you're in V3 or V4, those same concepts should be applying. I've got a couple more questions. I think we're getting real close to the bottom here. Is the V3 uninstall? Matt asked, is the uninstall.bat is silent? Yes, it is silent. Uninstall bat files are all silent. Is there documentation for migrating? Yes, Simone provided that to ITSA. So thank you, Simone, for dropping that in. We do have a KB article out on the docs that talks about replication. Everything I talked about today is in there. I wrote the document. So basically what I told you guys today with some screenshots. And again, if you need help, you let us know. Brian got the link for the call. Simone dropped it. Yes. So that is the link for the call every week. What is the deadline on patching for V4? Looks like, okay. So yeah, a couple of weeks into February on the roadmap. We're coming down the pipe for that. We talked about it. The ability to push lightweight agents using SMB has been discussed. Is this fully enabled? Dennis, I'm not sure on that particular. Dennis, I know that you have been highly engaged with our team. Shout out to Dennis H. Thank you for all the help and feedback. Dennis, we might have to talk to the team about that one. I'm not sure. Now I know what we do see as far as pushing lightweight agents is, having the probe be able to do that through the remote agent install setting, which we can do. So not sure on the SMB side though, Dennis. So maybe just send something into the team. We'll get some clarification on that. I'd like to know myself. Yep, Shiva, yeah, Luke. So again, it looks like you got your answer for scheduler. The scheduler is located either at the global or company level at the assets dropdown. Adam looking good. Right, Vershali, thank you. Looks like Vershali and the team's been answering a lot of these questions for me, so I'm not going to regurgitate to you guys because I'm sure you're all reading. Setup service company, domain admin. Crispy, is there documentation on how to set up the service account used for scanning without making it a domain admin? I need some more info there. There's no reason to have a domain admin in the lens of scanning, unless we're specifically talking about Active Directory scanning. Active Directory, we do have a KB built for Microsoft's least privileged access. So if you don't want to configure a domain administrator, we have a least privileged access document on how to build that account for the Active Directory scan. But in the lens of just a vulnerability scan from the agent side, it's not necessary to be a domain admin. Crispy, and again, if you need help with that, email into the team, let us know. We'll get you that info. We'll get you that doc I mentioned. Simon, custom URL support. That is still work in progress on the custom URL support. Thanks, Roshali. Don't have a date for that yet, but again, we are working on that piece as part of feature parity, so we're not leaving that stuff out. We are planning to deploy V3 agents for many clients. Would we have to do that again for V4 lightweight agents? So not technically. So if you install a bunch of V3 agents today, when you're ready, you would just replicate them, or you would use the replication inside V3, and then it would go ahead and deploy that V4 agent for you. David, looks like you also let the partner know. Shout out, David. Thank you. Love when partners give answers. Matthew, if the scheduler is not currently. Yeah, so Matt said, if the scheduler is not fully implemented in V3, does that mean vol scans currently have to be triggered manually for the V4 at this current time? So let me help break. That's a little confusing at the end, but let me try to clarify this for everybody. V3 has the scheduler for basically all of the agent scans, including lightweights, probes, firewalls, Active Directory, PII, external attack surface mapper. I didn't think I left anybody out. Any scan that you run in V3 happens two ways. One, you can manually run a scan, of course, at any time. You can go in and kick off a scan manually. The second way is the scheduler. You use the scheduler to automatically run those scans based on, your scanning preferences or requirements. The second, on the V4 side of this, there's still a scheduler in place for, again, Active Directory, firewall, network, external scanning. But the difference now in V4 is the lightweight agent now scans automatically from anywhere from every 15 minutes up to a max of 2 hours. And you guys control that setting right inside the global settings menu under lightweight agent scan interval. And you tell the system how frequent you want that lightweight agent scanning. So I hope that helps clear up some of that stuff. I know we're coming right up on our 12 o'clock, or maybe it's earlier for some of you. Thank you guys for staying a bit over. Everyone that's helping contribute to the product and helping us push the limit here. We appreciate everyone's time. Some of you have been frustrated with us, understandably, but we're humans, but we're here, we care, we're listening. Our teams are getting better and better every day, every week. So, continue to push the bounds with us. We'll continue to deliver an awesome product, and, we appreciate everyone's time, making it to these calls with us and sitting through it. And, thanks for everyone's feedback. Everyone have a good day.